In 1994, I set up a company called Bridgewater China Partners. By then, I was convinced that China was poised to become the greatest economy in the world in the 21st century. But hardly anyone was investing in China yet. Good deals could still be struck. I could bring money to the table by introducing my institutional investment clients to opportunities. And I could provide know-how by introducing Chinese companies to American ones. In exchange, we would get a stake in these companies. Essentially, I was setting up the first US-based private equity firm in China. I launched the company by bringing a small group of institutional investor clients who together managed 70 billion in assets to China for a visit. When we got back, we agreed to move forward by setting up a jointly owned merchant bank in Beijing. While I knew that entering a territory where few had been before would require a lot of experimentation and learning. So we are here this morning. As usual, we are going to be reading Principles by Ray Dalio. I am very excited because it's always a lot of fun to read, share my ideas, and to see what you are all saying. I usually only see what you say a little bit later because I'm just so into the reading. I actually use my bookmark today, which is really nice. And we are starting off on, let's have a look, Venturing Behind the Closed Door of China. Sounds very, very exciting. Let's get into it. I'll give you my commentary, and then I'll talk about how you can do various things at the end. Wow, I look very big today. Okay. Part of what was great about consulting was that it gave me opportunities to travel. The more unusual a place, the more interesting I found it. This curiosity drew me to Beijing in 1984. The only images I'd seen of China when I was growing up were masses of people waving Mao's Little Red Book. So having an opportunity to go behind what was still a mostly closed door was alluring. I got the invitation because I had a small office in Hong Kong, whose director was an advisor to CITIC, the window company. That was the only business in China allowed to deal with the outside world. Beijing was filled with wonderful and incredibly hospitable people who introduced us to the tradition of drinking shots of Moutai while shouting, Ganbei, bottoms up, and generally showed us a great time. The first trip which I made with my wife and a few other people began an incredibly rewarding 30-plus year journey that has had a profound impact on my family and me. There were no financial markets in China at the time. Eventually, a small group put together by 9 Chinese companies, including CITIC, known as the Stock Exchange Executive Council, began to develop them. They started in 1989, just before the Tiananmen Square incident, which set them back because such market developments were still seen as too capitalist. They operated out of a small hotel room and hardly had any financing. I can still picture the big garbage bin under the metal stairway going up to their office. I really respected the risks these young people were taking by doing this at such an unsettled time. So I made a small donation to give them a hand and was excited to share my knowledge with them. From nothing, these people built China's markets and the government's securities regulation arm. That's really amazing. So I love how he goes and he supports and he wants people to be able to succeed, and also that these people are able to go out and do something at a time like that, which is just such a difficult time. Yeah, we need lots of entrepreneurs in the world who want to change and improve and make things better and create some really wonderful things that can really benefit us. In 1994, I set up a company called Bridgewater China Partners. By then, I was convinced that China was poised to become the greatest economy in the world in the 21st century. But hardly anyone was investing in China yet. Good deals could still be struck. I could bring money to the table by introducing my institutional investment clients to opportunities. And I could provide know-how by introducing Chinese companies to American ones. In exchange, we would get a stake in these companies. Essentially, I was setting up the first US-based private equity firm in China. I launched the company by bringing a small group of institutional investor clients who together managed 70 billion in assets to China for a visit. When we got back, we agreed to move forward by setting up a jointly owned merchant bank in Beijing. While I knew that Entering a territory where few had been before would require a lot of experimentation and learning. I soon realized I had sorely underestimated the complexity of the task we had set for ourselves and the amount of time it would take. I found myself constantly on the phone at 3 in the morning, trying to make sense of the shaky accounting and questionable controls at the companies we were interested in, with all my Bridgewater responsibilities awaiting me when the sun came up. After about a year of this, I could see that running both Bridgewater and Bridgewater China Partners wasn't going to be possible, so I closed its doors. Nobody made or lost any money because I hadn't been comfortable enough with it, what I was seeing, to make any investments. I'm sure that if I had devoted all my time to it, we would have been great success. But then Bridgewater would not be what it is today. Despite passing up this great opportunity, I don't regret my choice. I learned that if you work hard and creatively, you can have just about anything you want, but not everything you want. Maturity is the ability to reject good alternatives in order to pursue even better ones. This I will definitely agree with. It's very important to focus on just that one thing that you really, really want to do. And then the universe will help you and things will roll smoothly for that one venture. When you start doing too many things at once, then things start to fall apart. Of course, if you only focus on business, you're going to get very, very bored. But if you're only going to focus on real estate or only focus on something else, you also need a bit of rest period. You need to play tennis or you need to do something else, which is enjoyable. And if you're a business owner and you enjoy the stock market, you'll be able to do the stock market on the side, for example. But you really need to focus on your main thing and know what that one thing is and really focus on that. Let's have a look. While I stepped away from that opportunity, China remained an important part of my own and my family's lives. We loved it, especially the people. In 1995, my wife Barbara, our 11-year-old son Matt, and I decided together that Matt would spend a year in Beijing, attending an all-Chinese school and living with our friend Madame Gu, who had stayed with us in America during the Tiananmen Square days, and whom Matt had visited in China with us when he was 3. Standards of living in China were very different from what Matt was accustomed to in Connecticut. For example, the apartment Madame Gu and her husband lived in had hot water showers for only twice a week, and the school Matt attended didn't have heat until well into the winter. So the students wore their coats in the classrooms. Matt didn't speak Chinese, and none of his classmates spoke English. All of this was not just a huge adventure for Matt, it was completely unprecedented and required special permission from the Chinese government. I was excited for Matt because I knew he would see a different world and broaden his mind. Barbara needed a little convincing and a couple of visits to a child psychologist for reassurance. But she had lived all around the world herself and knew how it had benefited her, so she was ultimately receptive to the idea, even if she was less excited about being separated from her son. Matt's difficult but life-changing journey profoundly affected his values and goals. Because he fell in love with China, he says that he became part Chinese that year, and because he learned the value of empathy relative to the value of material wealth, he started a charity called China Care to help Chinese special needs orphans when he was just 16. He ran it for 12 years, and to a much lesser degree still does, while shifting his efforts to reconceive what computing can be in the emerging world, which he is executing through his company Endless. I, in turn, learned a lot from Matt, especially about the joys of philanthropy, and we both learned the deep pleasures of great personal relationships. Over the years, I, and in turn Bridgewater, had also built meaningful relationships with many wonderful people in China, and we have helped its financial institutions grow from fledgling organizations to sophisticated giants. This really resonates with me, for example, because I spent a year as an exchange student in Japan, and it was one of the best things that I could have ever done. I learned so much, learned a new language, got a new family, which reminds me I need to send a message to my Japanese host brother, who I haven't written to for a while. He sent me a video from Japan just recently. And China is also a great country. I really like the people, and I've traveled to China quite a lot in the last couple of years. China wasn't the only country whose people and governments Bridgewater would become involved with. Through their representatives, Singapore, Abu Dhabi's, and Australia's government investment fund, and Russian and European policymakers came knocking on our door. The experiences I have had, the perspectives I gained, and the help I was able to provide all added up to a package of rewards as large as any of the others that I got out of my career. My contact with Singapore's people and institutions also thrilled me. There was and still is no leader I admire more than Lee Kuan Yew, who transformed Singapore from a mosquito-infested backwater to a model economy. That says a lot, as I have gotten to know and admire several world leaders. One of my most thrilling moments was a dinner I had with him at my house in New York, shortly before his death in 2015. Lee requested the dinner to discuss the state of the world economy. I invited former Fed Chairman Paul Volcker, another hero of mine, former Treasury Secretary Bob Rubin, whose breadth of experiences gave great perspective, and Charlie Rose, one of the most curious and insightful people I know. Besides answering his questions, we probed Lee on world affairs and world leaders. Since he had personally known virtually all the world leaders over the past 50 years, we asked Lee about the qualities that distinguished the great ones from the bad ones, and what he thought of those who were leading at the time. He rated Angela Merkel as the best leader in the West and considered Vladimir Putin one of the best leaders worldwide. He explained that leaders must be judged within the context of the circumstances they encounter, and then went on to share his view of how difficult it is to lead Russia and why he thought Putin was doing it well. Interesting that this is a part of what we're reading just right now. He also reflected on his unique relationship with Deng Xiaoping, whom he regarded as the best leader of all. Wow. I love getting to know interesting people from interesting places and seeing the world through their eyes. This is true whether they are rich or poor. Seeing life through the eyes of the indigenous people, I got to know Papua New Guinea. And it was as illuminating for me as gaining the perspectives as the political and economic leaders, world-changing entrepreneurs, and cutting-edge scientists I spent time with. I'll never forget the blind holy man I met in a mosque in Syria who explained the Quran and his connection to God to me. Encounters like these have taught me that human greatness and terribleness are not correlated with wealth or other conventional measures of success. I've also learned that judging people before really seeing through their eyes stands in the way of understanding their circumstances, and that isn't smart. I urge you to be curious enough to understand how people who see things differently from you came to see them that way. You will find that interesting and invaluable, and the richer perspective you gain will help you decide what you should do. We will leave it there, but I definitely resonate with that one a lot because I've traveled a lot. I've been an exchange student, and during that time, I have always felt that that was one of the best years of my life. And not only that it was one of the best years of my life, but that I was also able to see a new perspective, a new way of looking at things. And it has really shaped what I'm able to do today. So my investing has greatly benefited from all of the travel that I've done and all the unique experiences that I've had. So I would definitely recommend, if you have the opportunity to travel a lot, get to know other people, see how other people think, how they do things differently, why they do things differently. And that will give you the power to be able to adapt and change and do things differently yourself in your real life, in what you are doing investment-wise. Because in investment, it is very important to be able to adapt and move very quickly. And that is what that experience will be able to teach you. Okay, so that was another part of that chapter. And that was a really fun introduction to what Ray Dalio did in other countries and what he saw, and new stock markets being put up, leaders and what they do and which ones are good, and interesting which ones were claimed to be good, where there are a couple of issues at the moment. And again, if you've traveled a lot, you might be open-minded to why it is happening, as opposed to just following the status quo of what everybody else is saying the reason for that is. Now, if you'd like to watch more of these videos, if you'd like to see the replays of this video, you can do that by going to YouTube, and you'll find the YouTube channel that we have set up for this is called the Passive Cash Flow Club. You will be able to watch these videos, the Rich Dad Poor Dad videos, which we just finished. We also read The Art of Thinking Clearly, and we are answering your questions as well. So we have some new videos with your questions that we are answering and putting up there for you to enjoy as well. So make sure you hit the subscribe button when you join us on YouTube. And if you'd like to ask us questions, or if you'd like to say, for example, come to cash flow night tonight, because tonight is very exciting, it's cash flow night again, then you are going to be able to join us by following me on Instagram and sending me a message there. You'll find it business_team_6_official. And we would love to hear from you, hear your questions that are related to finance, investment, wealth creation, anything along those lines. And I'll create videos answering those questions. And on top of that, yes, if you are interested in coming to Cashflow, send me a message and let me know. And I will get my VA, my virtual assistant, to send you the details so that you can come and join us. Cashflow is such an amazing way to take all of these things that we're talking about in this book and implementing it in real life for yourself. It allows you to be able to invest in stocks and real estate and business. And obviously, it's just play money. So it's not going to cost you any money. If you make a mistake, you're not going to lose any money. It is really amazing. So reach out and come and join us. You'll learn about taxation. You'll learn about every aspect of investing to get you started, and we'll also help you bridge the gap from where we are starting to doing it in real life as well. Now, I've also joined an elite mastermind with somebody that actually knows Robert Kiyosaki himself, and that has been extremely exciting. And I'm going to be talking about a phone call that I had with this man, and we're going to do a presentation on that so that you can learn a very, very big trend that is coming at the moment. So keep an eye out for that. I put it in the newsletter as well. So send me a message and I will look out for you and make sure that you get that, get those details so you can come and join us. Very, very exciting. I always love Cashflow Night, and I'm always thrilled when lots of people come and join us. And I'm very thrilled that you are here right now. So I really appreciate you. Come and join us at the Passive Cashflow Club on YouTube. Get in touch with me, send me your questions, and let me know if you'd like to come and join us for Cashflow tonight in Sydney. Wherever you are in the world, it is online, so you can come and join us. So I'm very excited and looking forward to that. Reach out on Instagram, business_team_6_official. And I want to say thank you for joining today, and I'm looking forward to doing another reading for you again tomorrow.